and see that I'm just standing here, fully clothed. The video available on the News Radio 710 WNTM Facebook page. Coming up in about 15 minutes, I'll have a review of Game of Thrones. The disgusting HBO series returned last night, and my Sunday night was ruined with me having to watch Game of Thrones. I'll have that review for you in less than 15 minutes on the Uncle Henry Show. Over the weekend, Saturday, there was a Republican forum, Republican candidates for the Senate. I think we're about a month out, a little less than a month away from voting, if we're voting in the primary for replacing Jeff Sessions. 6 of the 10 Republican candidates attended a forum in Robertsdale Saturday. Lots of questions and answers. I didn't get to hear a lot of the questions and answers because I was blessed to not be forced to attend. But Local 15 did go with a camera crew and caught some of the answers. One of the answers got my attention, and it came from Mo Brooks, Congressman Brooks, he is in the top 3, allegedly in the polls. You've got your Luther Strange and your Roy Moore, and Mo Brooks is allegedly there, also close to the top. And he was asked, they were talking about the need for a bridge over the river in Mobile, Baldwin. And Mo Brooks, he had an interesting answer. He said, don't come to the federal government looking for bridge money.
So you're not going to see the United States Senate or the House of Representatives building this bridge through a statutory mechanism because that's an earmark. And I don't want to go back to earmarks. What we did was we sent the money by and large to the states with some input from the President of the United States and the executive branch, USDOT. So to a very large degree, what we need to do if you want construction of road projects here in the Baldwin County, Mobile Bay area, is go to Montgomery and work on the governor of your state. And I'm more than happy to assist you in doing that. But please understand, we do not want Congress, the United States Senate, to be in a position again where our votes can be bought by the dangling of these little carrots so that we have big bills that do real bad things for the United States of America.
All right. So don't go to the federal government, but he'll help us. He says he'll assist us if we go to Kay Ivey and ask for money from Montgomery. Now, philosophically, if it were a bridge in Alaska, I would be philosophically right there with him. But it's a little harder because I'll get stuck in the traffic here. It's a little harder to be on the same page when it happens to be right where I want to drive.
710 Time Saver Traffic from the Dean McCrary Porsche Traffic Center.
As more of you hit the roadway for the morning, more and more of you seem to be hitting each other. Our accident count has gone up a bit, including a pair of crashes in Mobile. Snow Road just north of Wolf Road, most recent one at Moffett between Powell Drive and Bear Fork Road. You have a fire unit en route to help with that one. Also in Pensacola, small crash on northbound I-110, the ramp to westbound I-10, but it is out of the main travel lanes. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Ray Romero.
This report is brought to you by the Foundation for a Better Life.
While many rose up with violence, he sat down for peace. Mahatma Gandhi reached out with the strength he cultivated within his soul. So, pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
RVs Unlimited in Robertsdale, new and pre-owned. RVsunlimited.com.
Now, Gulf Coast weather from Local 15.
Good Monday to you, everybody. It is going to be a soggy start to the work week. Our storm coverage today at 60%. If you hear thunder, you are within striking distance. We'll top out today at 88 degrees. Lows will drop into the mid-70s. A few storms overnight. For your Tuesday, a high of 90 with a 50% chance of wet weather. I'm Kelly Foster for Local 15 News in this iHeartRadio station.
This report is brought to you by the Foundation for a Better Life.
She didn't just visit the sick and poor. She moved in with them because they needed help. Mother Teresa couldn't do it all, but she gave her all. Compassion. Pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
News? Check. Traffic and weather? Check. Opinions? Check. This is the Uncle Henry Show, only on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show. Thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show here on News Radio 710 WNTM 99.5 FM, The Jag. Coming up in a little less than 10 minutes, a review of the ridiculous Game of Thrones on HBO last night. Once again, my company ordering me to review Game of Thrones. And I'm not going to quit. Even though they want me to review Game of Thrones, I will not step down. I will not quit. I did see, speaking of acting and all that kind of garbage, I did see that noted actor Martin Landau passed away. Martin Landau, he was on Mission Impossible, if I remember correctly. He was also on Space 1999. He was in many things. He won, I believe, the Academy Award for playing Bela Lugosi in the movie Ed Wood. And once upon a time, I got a chance to meet Martin Landau when he visited Mobile. Martin Landau, the actor, was in Mobile, Alabama back in 1990. Or maybe late 89. I can't remember if it was late 89 or 1990. But he was in Mobile to make a movie called Firehead. The movie Firehead, made in Mobile. And they made the movie also with noted actor Christopher Plummer. You remember Christopher Plummer from The Sound of Music. Now, this movie was about a cyborg that could shoot lightning out of his eyeballs or something weird like that. And I think they made, if I remember correctly, I think they filmed a lot of it in Fort Condy Village. It's been a long time since 1990, so my memory is unclear on Firehead. I do remember that I never saw it, the movie Firehead, but I did get a chance to meet Martin Landau. He came to the radio station. He was interviewed by our morning show. I didn't get to interview him, but I did get to talk to him off the air. And he was, at the time, I was very much a big fan of his work on Mission Impossible. He was just as nice as he could be. This was before he made Ed Wood and before he had such a great end to his career, when he was getting really good roles and winning the Academy Award. This was in the Firehead stage of his career, when he was trying to keep working. But he was very nice. No big ego. He was more than willing to come in and be interviewed on a Mobile, Alabama radio station and be as nice and as kind to everybody as he could be. So Martin Landau. And Christopher Plummer. Now, I did get a chance to interview Christopher Plummer. That interview is on YouTube. He was also very nice. Both men very nice when they were in Mobile, Alabama, making the movie Firehead. Look for it online. I think the Mobile writer Eugene Walter has a small part in Firehead.
This is Uncle Henry. I want to tell you about Dr. Thomas Bender and Advanced Dermatology and Skincare Center. We love living on the Gulf Coast. We love all the fun activities, the fishing, the golf. But years of being out in the elements, well, that can accelerate damage to your skin. That can accelerate the aging process.
And good morning to those of you viewing on Facebook. Bless your hearts. Thank you very much for watching on Facebook. We're in a break. Coming up in just a moment, it's a review of Game of Thrones. once again forced to watch Game of Thrones on HBO. I'll tell you this before we get into the review, that one of the I'm glad that it wasn't, there were no naked people on Game of Thrones last night. I'm sure that won't last. I'm sure there will be, in the future, there will be numerous naked people on Game of Thrones. But I'm glad that last night's episode, there were no naked people. I guess they're going to save the naked people for later in the season. But it was still annoying because it was Sunday night and me having to do something on a Sunday night. I just don't like the idea that my company makes me watch Game of Thrones on a Sunday night. I wish if HBO would put their popular filthy shows on some other night of the week and leave Sunday night for people that want to have a good life. And let's see, other than that, for the weekend, let's see who's watching. Roger Bird, good morning to you. Scotty White of ScottyWhite.com is watching on Facebook. B. Graves, talented musician and boat maker. And Graham Green, smarthomeamerica.org. Nice to see all of you watching on Facebook. Roger Bird, yes, Christopher Plummer was he was nice. I interviewed him at a charity event that was going on during the filming of Firehead, and it was at, do you remember a place in downtown Mobile called Trinity's? It was a place called Trinity's that was very close to the Mobile Civic Center. And that's where I interviewed Christopher Plummer. And see, at that time, I was not really a big Christopher Plummer. No offense to Christopher Plummer, but I wasn't a big Christopher Plummer fan. I was more of a Martin Landau fan because I was a big fan of Mission Impossible on television. Which I don't know if those are reruns anywhere. I don't think they show that on MeTV or any of the other places where you can watch old things. Good morning to Bama Big Man. Good morning, Bama Big Man. Roll Tide, Bama Big Man. All right, we're about to go back to radio after the traffic and the weather. Stand by.
Wolf Road, most recent one at Moffett between Powell Drive and Bear Fork Road. You have a fire unit en route to help with that one. Also in Pensacola, small crash on northbound I-110, the ramp to westbound I-10, but it is out of the main travel lanes. With time saver traffic, I'm Ray Romero.
This report is brought to you by LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, a U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%.
Gulf Coast weather from Local 15 and the Kemco Metal Buildings Weather Center.
Good Monday to you, everybody. It is going to be a soggy start to the work week. Our storm coverage today at 60%. If you hear thunder, you are within striking distance. We'll top out today at 88 degrees. Lows will drop into the mid-70s. A few storms overnight. For your Tuesday, a high of 90 with a 50% chance of wet weather. I'm Kelly Foster for Local 15 News in this iHeartRadio station.
You're home for Rush every weekday at 11. This is the Uncle Henry Show on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show. Thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show. News from Fox and from Local 15's Darwin coming up in 10 minutes, along with traffic and weather. Last night, my employer iHeartMedia forced me to watch Game of Thrones and offer you the following review. This is the Uncle Henry Show review of Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 1, Dragonstone, recorded in my living room immediately after watching Game of Thrones on HBO. Reviewing the show with me is KP of ShirtButter.com, Angelo of MobileBayCoins.com, Scotty White of ScottyWhite.com, and longtime caller Norman, who has no .com, but his nephew Brent has BrentTunes.com. Let me start the review by saying it was truly a waste. What a waste of time this episode was. Now, there was a mass killing at one point, but mostly it was just people in different locations talking to each other. They looked at swords. I don't think one ever came into play. There were 9 cuss words. It was just boring. It was all it was talking. KP, you have to agree that it was total snooze time.
Well, I wasn't the one that snoozed, but normally I would agree with you because there was a lot of words and crap. But the thing is, I noticed I'm hooked. It had ice zombies, it had dragons, it had armadas of ships, and they were
doing nothing.
Yeah, but the pieces are being moved for an awesome third act of the whole story arc.
Angelo, you have to agree with me.
Well, Uncle Henry, it's been a while since I've seen this show,
Right.
and thanks to you, or I guess unfortunately thanks to you, I was forced to come here tonight and review this. And I've got to admit, I could have looked at pictures of ships and pictures of people on my wall and just sort of blinked quickly, and it would have been the same darn thing. This was ridiculously boring.
Scotty White, he's got a point that it was like looking at a painting.
But a very awesome painting. I loved it. It was a great episode.
Based on what? They didn't do anything.
They planned. The dialogue was fantastic. It was well acted, well executed. It was, and look, I mean, for you, you should be happy there was no nudity.
No, you're right. No nudity. Norman, you and I came up in the same era where when there was a show on TV, something happened. Somebody was shot. There was a punching. Nobody was even punched.
Look, people died and I went to sleep. This thing just bored me to death. I sat here and I nodded off. I could have been at home in my own bed falling asleep.
And the Dragon Woman, Norman, the Dragon Woman has been sailing for months, and what did she say, one word, one sentence in the whole show?
I obviously slept through whatever she said.
I don't understand how you can possibly defend this.
Well, I'm not saying I agree with you that there wasn't a lot of action.
Nothing.
The mass killing was cool.
There was a mass killing. Somebody dug a hole, and that was about it.
And then there were ice zombies, and there's giant ice zombies now, spoiler alert. And so I can just see where it's headed. So I guess I'm more judging it on where it's headed as opposed to where it was. I mean, I'm sorry you guys didn't take your Geritol to stay up to watch the whole thing.
It was they wasted. There's only, 7 or 8 episodes, Scotty?
There's 7.
And they wasted one whole episode with nothing.
Well, they had to show us changing of the chamber parts, which you should understand and know.
Oh, thank you. I forgot. Norman, what did you think of the toileting? There was a lot of toilet stuff in here.
There was a whole lot of crap. They were dumping crap. They showed people crapping. They showed
it was. Let's not be so graphic, but there was medieval. There was Angelo medieval going to the bathroom.
Uncle Henry, this was basically a trailer that lasted 1 hour. This is a trailer for the rest of the season, but it took an hour for them to introduce us to the rest of the darn season.
All right.
Why waste my time? Why?
All right. So, final word.
I loved it. I give it 4 chamber parts.
Crap.
I wish I could have napped like Norman.
Giant ice zombies.
Waste of time, and that's the Uncle Henry Show review of Game of Thrones. Huge disappointment. Yes, and look, I don't know if my company's trying to get me to quit by forcing me to review this. I don't know if this is an effort to make me step down of my own free will, but I will not resign. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to continue to work here, even though they're forcing me to watch Game of Thrones and review it on the program. One thing that was left out of the review that was truly just as ridiculous as could be, is you're trying to suspend disbelief. As you watch something on television, you try to suspend disbelief as you're watching the land of make-believe. And there's a point in this episode where you're in the forest and you hear someone singing, and lo and behold, it's pop music star Ed Sheeran of the year 2017. Ed Sheeran. They put a modern pop music star in there. It reminded me of when in 1966 when Batman and Robin would climb the side of a building and then a celebrity would pop their head out the window like Sammy Davis Jr. Ed Sheeran doesn't belong on nobody really belongs on Game of Thrones, but Ed Sheeran, please. All right, there's much more to get to. The Uncle Henry Show proceeding forward. News, traffic, weather, all that ahead.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Procter & Gamble faces a proxy fight for a board seat with activist Nelson Peltz Trian Fund Management, which says the consumer products company's stock has underperformed peers because of P&G's, quote, slow-moving and insular culture. Trian will seek a seat for Peltz at P&G's annual shareholder meeting, according to a proxy filing today with the SEC. Shares of Procter & Gamble are up about 0.7% in pre-market trading this morning. Stock futures are little changed to higher ahead of a report on New York region manufacturing, and we get earnings from Netflix this afternoon. The S&P 500 and the Dow begin at record highs. This week, investors will watch for data on home construction, and it's a big week for earnings, including those from Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Microsoft, Visa, and Johnson & Johnson. S&P futures are up 2 points. Dow futures are up 17. Crude oil is down 0.2% at $46.45 a barrel. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
Bras Across the Causeway is coming October the 1st to Battleship Park, and we're literally going to try to get bras to stretch across the 7 miles. Kathy Smith is here from Bayside Insurance. She is heading it up. What do you need bras, right?
We need bras. We're collecting 15,000 bras. We need sponsorships, $25 to $25,000 or something for everyone. We're going to have a 5K and a Tata Taste-Off.
That's restaurants from around the area and people sampling their food, right?
Yes.
To participate or drop off the bras, where do they go?
We have a Facebook page, Bras Across the Causeway.
Does your patio furniture need a makeover? Are you tired of uncomfortable, low-quality furniture on the deck? Then come see Coastal Patio Warehouse during the summer clearance event going on now. Specializing in commercial and residential patio furniture. You'll find them on Lakeside Drive in Mobile, between Cottage Hill and Highway 90, less than 1 mile from I-65. Their warehouse showroom has the largest patio selection on the Gulf Coast. They manufacture frames and cushions right here in Mobile, so they can sell at the very best price to you. See coastalpatiowarehouse.com and at 751 Lakeside Drive.
710 Time Saver Traffic from the Main Street Flooring and Design Traffic Center.
The biggest accident we have on the board is on Moffett Road between Powell Drive and Bear Fork Road. This is an accident involving an injury. Delays on the eastbound side of Moffett in particular are pretty thick through the area there, so you do have that to contend with. Also, Snow Road north of Wolf Road still working, and one in Pensacola. It's on the ramp from northbound 110 to westbound I-10, but it is on the shoulder of the roadway. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Ray Romero.
Now, Gulf Coast weather from Local 15.
Good Monday to you, everybody. It is going to be a soggy start to the work week. Our storm coverage today at 60%. If you hear thunder, you are within striking distance. We'll top out today at 88 degrees. Lows will drop into the mid-70s. A few storms overnight. For your Tuesday, a high of 90 with a 50% chance of wet weather. I'm Kelly Foster for Local 15 News in this iHeartRadio station.
Questions and concerns after a 17-year-old walks out of a group home in Theodore and disappears. I'm Local 15's Darwin Singleton with this iHeartRadio News Update. Reagan Friol has been missing now for 10 days. He was last seen at a group home for troubled teens on 3 Notch Road. That home is owned by Alta Point for teens who come from broken homes, but the teenagers are not confined. They're permitted to come and go. Records show Mobile County Sheriff deputies have been called out to the home nearly 20 times so far this year. Most calls are for missing teens. If they do go missing, the home immediately contacts authorities. This morning, law enforcement in Alabama and Florida are coming together to try to save your lives on Gulf Coast highways. It's called Operation Southern Shield, and it's designed to reduce summertime wrecks and traffic deaths. Officers will be checking for a variety of violations, including not wearing your seatbelts, drunk driving, and speeding. Officers in the states of Georgia and South Carolina also taking part in the operation, which will be running through Sunday. If your business lost money because of the major drought that hit Alabama in November, you could receive help from the federal government, but time is running out for Alabama businesses and co-ops to apply for those disaster loans. You'll have until August 8th to file for the federal economic injury disaster loans from, of course, the federal government. News breaks while you sleep, so when you wake, we'll catch you up on what's happening along the Gulf Coast and around the world every weekday morning on Local 15 Today. We start at 5 a.m. I'm Local 15's Darwin Singleton for this iHeart radio station.
Fox News Radio, I'm Paul Stevens. Search and rescue crews in Arizona's Tonto National Forest looking for a 13-year-old boy, part of a group that got swept away in furious weekend flash flooding.
Mandisa Alexander was hiking in the area when the water surged.
Next thing we know, there's just a bunch of water just coming down, and it was raining hard, and the water was pushing trees and stuff like that, and branches everywhere.
Some of the victims were as young as 2 years old.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers, 9 bodies recovered so far. Senate Republicans delaying a vote on health care. Senator John McCain recovering from surgery, and there's some GOP opposition.
Senator Susan Collins told ABC's This Week she's concerned premiums will go up for seniors and other vulnerable groups. The Congressional Budget Office is delaying its report on the impact of the revised health care bill.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland in Washington. Fox News, we report, you decide.
The media and liberals like Nancy Pelosi attack Donald Trump. Career Congressman Mo Brooks sided with them. Listen to Mo Brooks attacking Trump.
I don't think you can trust Donald Trump with anything he says.
Here's Mo Brooks again.
A lot of people who have supported Donald Trump, they're going to regret having done so.
Career Congressman Mo Brooks even refused to endorse Donald Trump for president. What's worse, Mo Brooks now says he's very pleased to receive the endorsement of a New Jersey anti-Trump group that called Trump voters morons and suckers. Mo Brooks smeared Donald Trump, refused to endorse Trump. Now, Mo Brooks welcomes a vicious anti-Trump group to his U.S. Senate campaign. Career Congressman Mo Brooks, a history of anti-Trump. We can't afford his bad judgment in the Senate. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Sheba is 105 lean pounds of happy dog for life because she gets fed Dynavite and Lico Chops.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Lico Chops free.
New improved Lico Chops with omega-6, omega-3, vitamin E.
And now 6 extra direct-fed microbials.
Even better for the digestive tract and immune system.
Try Lico Chops.
Free this week at Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com. If you're familiar with cloud computing, you probably know that Amazon Web Services offers a complete set of secure compute, storage, application, and deployment services that help companies launch and scale their IT infrastructures while lowering costs. But did you know that you're still responsible for protecting your own AWS-based assets, meaning your applications and data, from advanced cyber threats? Protect your AWS with Barracuda Network's advanced firewall solutions. Visit AWS Marketplace or barracuda.com/AWS to learn more.
Now's the time.
Now's the time to make a difference.
Now's the time to take a stand.
To get involved.
To make a change.
Now's the time to raise a hammer and drive a nail.
To build a wall.
And open a door to a new life.
Now's the time to help Habitat for Humanity build hope and change lives with a family in your community or around the world.
Now's the time.
Now, more than ever, help build it.
Visit Habitat.org.
We love Nick Saban. Just wanted to get that out of the way. This is the Uncle Henry Show on News Radio 710 WNTM.
We've arrived at the Daily Reagan here on News Radio 710 WNTM 99.5 FM The Jag. The Daily Reagan, a presentation of SAD Healthcare, SAAD. is how you spell it, sadhealthcare.com. Here is President Reagan.
The liberals are saying that they want to help the American middle class. And what they're planning to do for the American middle class is to tax them, and then tax them some more. Well, if you ask me, the liberals are selling the middle class short. Every time the liberals see a problem, they think a big government program run by bureaucrats in Washington is the solution. The same bureaucrats who do so much to stifle individual initiative and economic growth. Well, I say if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And the problem is big spending. The solution is so simple, only a liberal could miss it. We just have to spend less. What we've learned from hard experience, that big spending is as seductive as anabolic steroids. And I think it's time the big spenders were disqualified.
The Daily Reagan. A presentation of SAD Healthcare, SAAD, sadhealthcare.com. Thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show here on News Radio 710 WNTM 99.5 FM The Jag. Coming up in less than 15 minutes, we'll hear from Darwin of Local 15. Now there is I know you've heard about this solar eclipse coming up in August. Now Ariel, are you excited about the solar eclipse? Have you heard about it? You're not paying attention to it? I'm only bringing it up because yesterday I ran into another person that is traveling. I know two people that are traveling, actually no more than two, that want to go be in a better place for the solar eclipse in August, that it's that important to them. They feel like it's such a once-in-a-lifetime thing. They want to go and be where they can better experience the solar eclipse. Ariel, does that sound fun to you? No? See, maybe there's something wrong with me, but can't I watch it on TV? Seriously! I've got this wonderful television. Can't I just look at it there? Why do I need to be in it? What is the point? I mean, if you actually go outside with an umbrella over your head, you kind of create your own eclipse. So why do I need to go travel for a solar eclipse? Well, to each his own. Enjoy yourselves if you're going to do that. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s.
710 Time Saver Traffic from the Dean McCrary Volkswagen Traffic Center.
The biggest accident on the board has been with us now for close to an hour. This is on Moffett Road, just past Bear Fork, in front of Assembly of God Church. Seems to be affecting the eastbound lanes of Moffett in particular, where delays there remain pretty heavy, so you've got that to contend with. Elsewhere in Mobile, crash on Snow Road, just north of Howes Ferry. No major Bayway problems so far this morning. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Ray Romero.
This report is brought to you by LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, a U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%.
Gulf Coast weather from Local 15 and the Kemco Metal Buildings Weather Center.
Good Monday to you, everybody. It is going to be a soggy start to the work week. Our storm coverage today at 60%. If you hear thunder, you are within striking distance. We'll top out today at 88 degrees. Lows will drop into the mid-70s. A few storms overnight. For your Tuesday, a high of 90 with a 50% chance of wet weather. I'm Kelly Foster for Local 15 News and this iHeartRadio station.
This report is brought to you by LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, a U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%.
This morning at 9, ask the expert. Then Rush at 11. Right now, it's Uncle Henry on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show. We're going to talk with Darwin of Local 15 coming up in about 10 minutes. Right now, Angela's with us for MobileBayCoins.com. Angela, were you out shopping early this morning?
Yes, sir, I was. I did my morning errands, ran to one of the local stores, and I saw something. I guess you got my email, didn't you?
Well, yeah, that's why I asked. I didn't know if it was an old picture or a new, but Angelo sent me a picture. He took a pic, and I guess he was at one of these big box warehouse stores.
Yes, sir.
You found a picture of, in the frozen food section, of deep fried Twinkies.
Yeah, I was walking through, actually was on the phone with my mother discussing healthy eating options, eating healthier, things of that nature. I picked up some vegetables and carrots and whatnot. And then I walked past the frozen food section and see a giant display of deep fried Twinkies. And I took a big picture and then a close-up picture just so you didn't think this was some sort of fake news or joke product. It's right there in the darn store.
Well, how many did you buy?
0. God, the whole concept sounds absolutely disgusting, Uncle Henry.
You're not curious?
No. Frightened maybe, but not curious. No. That's just so wrong.
Well, look.
I mean, I could have picked up a pack for you. You could have fried Twinkies and bacon for breakfast or something, but the whole concept of a deep fried Twinkie just bothers me on some level.
Well, I think people are impressed that not only did you turn down the lure, the siren song of the fried Twinkies, you were also on the phone talking about healthy eating with your mom. You're just a good son.
Every once in a while, you got to do something good, right, Uncle Henry?
Yes, indeed. Now, I found the nutritional information online for deep fried Twinkies from Hostess. They're only 200. There's only 220 calories in one of the frozen Twinkies.
Only 220.
That's less than a Little Debbie.
Well, that's probably true. Again, that's something else that I don't consume. So
9 grams of fat, 3 grams of protein, 32 carbs. This sounds right down. This sounds like I need to go get myself a box of these.
There you go. Well, tell you what, Uncle Henry, next time I swing by there, I'll make sure I grab you one of those giant boxes of deep fried Twinkies.
All right, before we run out of time here, Mobile Bay Coins, the beginning of a brand new week, Angelo, at Mobile Bay Coins. New things. You never know what's going to come in the door, do you?
We really don't. We have customers coming in every single day, bringing in their coin collections, gold and silver bullion, jewelry from their family, sometimes sterling silver flatware. And if you're looking for deals on some of those things, we normally send everything to the refinery to be melted on Tuesday. So if you want to try to get a deal and get a great discount on something, we have things that are going to the melter. Come by the shop today and check out what we're going to be melting tomorrow.
So today's the day that if I want to see what's about to be melted, something I could get a really good deal on, today's the day to look at it.
Yes, sir. So we've mentioned it before when you've been here live at the shop on Tuesday. The problem is most people are busy. By the time they get here Tuesday afternoon, we have already packed everything up and shipped it off to the refinery. So if they really want to get the best opportunity to look at sterling silver flatware or old pieces of jewelry, then now's the day to come by and check it out, because tomorrow morning we're going to be weighing this up and packing it up and sending it out of here.
Okay. That's Mobile Bay Coins, 2204 Government Street in Midtown Mobile. Look for Mobile Bay Coins on Facebook, MobileBayCoins.com. Angelo, and I'm impressed at your intestinal fortitude that you turned down the deep fried Twinkies.
Well, thank you, sir.
There he goes, Angelo, a healthy eater.
While they were watching
Obama spying on Americans,
you were listening. Keep on listening.
It's so sick.
Sean Hannity, 2 till 5. News Radio 710, WNTM.
No representation is made. The legal services performed are greater than the quality of legal services of others.
Bill Brooks here in the iHeartRadio studios with attorney David J. Maloney. How have you been, David?
Great. Thanks for having me. It's good to be back.
David, we've talked a lot about why you became a lawyer, so this time more nuts and bolts, if you will. What makes David J. Maloney different day in and day out?
I truly believe that the way that I approach the practice of law is very different than the way most attorneys do. And the reason why is because a lot of attorneys are grown through firms. They get employed as a clerk, and they learn to do things in a traditional way that law firms have practiced for generations. I came from a business background and a bit of a sales background from my father's businesses, and then I also learned these different things from different jobs I took as I went along. So when I opened my practice, I had no preconceptions as to what or how a law firm should be run. My focus, that's why I personally return calls.
That really is different, and it bleeds over to your staff too, doesn't it?
I am willing to do any job within that office. There is no job that is, for lack of a better way of putting it, below me. And I believe that that's important with my staff too, because then they know that I'm not asking them to do anything that I am not totally willing to do myself. You know, it may not always be the most effective use of my time, but if it needs to be done, then I'll do it.
So put that great work ethic to work. Maloney Frost Attorneys at Law. MaloneyFrost.com. 251-433-4440. Thanks, David.
Smart Home America is a local nonprofit set up to help Gulf Coast homeowners learn how to save money. Learn how to shop for homeowners insurance and get the right coverages. Learn how to re-roof your house with a fortified roof that's safer and can increase your property values. And learn how to save all the time by being more energy efficient. You'll find information and resources at smarthomeamerica.org. Build a stronger home, save money, and get the right insurance with smarthomeamerica.org. I'm Uncle Henry, a customer of Heads Heating and Air Conditioning. I've used them for maintenance and for when my old system went out on me. Last year, I asked them to turn to the experts, Carrier, and replace my old natural gas furnace with a Carrier 95% high-efficiency unit. And so I had a cozy, warm home last winter with lower heating bills, and I'm looking forward to a cool home this summer with that new system. Carrier, high-efficiency natural gas, and Heads Heating and Air Conditioning make a great team. Did you know they've got financing available at 0% interest for up to 60 months? You can't beat 0% on a new system. What a great combo. Carrier, natural gas, Heads Heating and Air Conditioning, and financing at 0% interest for up to 60 months. So turn to the experts, Carrier, and call Heads Heating and Air Conditioning. The number is 251-653-7873. 251-653-7873. See if you qualify for that great deal on 0% interest.
It's Heating and Air Conditioning, where three heads are better than one.
710 Time Saver Traffic.
The biggest accident on the board has been with us now for close to an hour. This is on Moffett Road, just past Bear Fork, in front of Assembly of God Church. Seems to be affecting the eastbound lanes of Moffett in particular, where delays there remain pretty heavy. So you've got that to contend with. Elsewhere in Mobile, crash on Snow Road, just north of Howells Ferry. No major Bayway problems so far this morning. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Ray Romero.
This report is brought to you by LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, a U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%.
Now, Gulf Coast weather from Local 15.
Good Monday to you, everybody. It is going to be a soggy start to the work week. Our storm coverage today at 60%. If you hear thunder, you are within striking distance. We'll top out today at 88 degrees. Lows will drop into the mid-70s. A few storms overnight. For your Tuesday, a high of 90 with a 50% chance of wet weather. I'm Kelly Foster for Local 15 News in this iHeartRadio station.
Roll Tide. This is the Uncle Henry Show on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show here on News Radio 710 WNTM 99.5 FM. The Jag. News headlines coming up in 10 minutes from Fox and from Local 15. Speaking of Local 15, want to welcome back to the show Darwin. Darwin, good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Henry. How are you on this Monday?
Fantastic, Darwin. I hope the same for you. And I noted that you were covering a story about something about a big law enforcement effort on the interstates.
Yes, and it's this week. This is something really we all should pay attention to. Number one, we don't want you to get a ticket. Number two, we want you to be safe. It's called Operation Southern Shield, and about 4 states are joining together, including Alabama and Florida. They're going to be like really, really watching the interstates and some of the busier roads for things like, not wearing your seatbelt, drunk driving, speeding, things that could get us all in trouble. And you know, we had some fatalities over the weekend, some hit and runs actually, one in Pensacola and one in Daphne on I-10. So it's, I can see why they would be concerned and doing this for our own good. So if we can just kind of tone it down a little bit, be careful, be good for everybody.
Yeah, you'd think that we would have learned our lesson over the years about driving, but as each year goes by, there's something new, such as smartphone technology in the car to distract us.
Yeah, and when you get out driving and you notice people, you're just thinking, okay, how could you be driving when you're looking in your lap?
Right.
Or, it's really amazing. I do remember this, Uncle Henry, when I moved here back in '87. I lived out in West Mobile. This was before all the smartphone technology, before we even had cell phones. And there was a woman swerving all over Airport Boulevard, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong until I got up next to her, and she had a paperback novel reading it on her steering wheel. Well, that was like pre-smartphone days. Now everybody's reading something as they're driving. You've seen it.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and I hear we all have friends that have witnessed strange things like what you just mentioned, but it's just so. It's so irresistible. If you know somebody is if you know there's a message waiting for you on the phone,
you got to read it. You have to read it.
A lot of people can't resist at least glancing, but it only takes a second with your eyes off the road for there to be a tragedy.
Oh, it happens all the time. We cover it all the time. I mean, we do these stories. And the other thing is too, I can tell you that 99% of the fatal accident stories I read on the air end with, and they weren't wearing their seatbelt. And I know a lot of people say, well, it could confine me. I could become trapped if I were in an accident or something. But I can tell you, if you are not wearing your seatbelt and you roll over and you're ejected, I mean, if you have your seatbelt on, you're going to stay in the car. Immensely more lives are saved than lost because of a seatbelt. So, yeah, we can't really stress this enough, and we're all driving. You see the tunnel, how backed up we are. The amount of traffic that is on our interstates these days is remarkable. So let's be careful, please.
So we have that story. Are there any other stories that you're covering you want to tell us about?
Well, we keep getting more instances of this Vibrio vinificus, which is the flesh-eating bacteria caused by that bacteria, often found in raw seafood, like eating oysters. Well, we had another one over the weekend. We're not sure. They're waiting to confirm this, but it looks like it right now. Kid swimming off Dolphin Island had some cuts and scrapes on his knuckles and hands, and they started really kind of flaring up, and they think that might be what it is. So we're checking right now, waiting to see the results of that. So if that's the case, it'll be the 6th case of it in our Mobile Bay area.
And it really...
Two of those are from eating raw seafood, and the other 3, possibly 4, are from exposure.
Yeah, and this is at this point, it's a common sense thing of if you have an open wound, just don't get into the water.
Yeah, I think that would be a good reaction. And there are other things out there that can infect you too. So yeah, it's probably a good idea just to say, okay, I'm going to let this heal up, and I'll just stay poolside, or maybe I'll fish or something. Well, even fishing. A lady pricked her finger, and they think that's while she was fishing. They think that's how she got it. That's the Fairhope Pier episode. So and I think some people are more susceptible to it if they have a compromised immune system. It's a little bit weaker. It's just good to study up on it and be safe. But right now, we're still waiting for the result of the 6th case.
All right. Well, Darwin, thank you so much for checking in, and we'll be watching you, of course, at noon today.
I'm here for your paranoia,
All right.
Henry.
All right. Thank you, Darwin.
All right. Bye-bye.
There he goes, Darwin, Local 15. Yeah, if you want to hear more about the Vibrio vulnificus, you can go to our radio station website, newsradio710.com. And where it says under the on-air thing, look for Gulf Coast Focus. And we've got a podcast. Mary Booth and I interviewed Mark Bryant with the health department last week, and we have a conversation with him about Vibrio vulnificus and sentinel chickens, mosquito control, and many other topics. And so, again, that's at newsradio710.com. Just look for Gulf Coast Focus, and you can listen to that conversation. I'll say that the health department, Mobile County Health Department, does not use the phrase flesh-eating bacteria. They do not. That is a phrase they do not use. They are more specific and call it Vibrio vulnificus. It was a great conversation, by the way. With the health department is more involved in things than I ever realized. Again, that's available at newsradio710.com. All right, we are just about out of time for this hour of the show. Coming up, we have news from Fox, traffic, weather, news headlines with Darwin of Local 15. That is next on the Uncle Henry Show, and then another hour of Uncle Henry Show. So please continue to listen